Hello, 422 Education 585. Dr. Allen here. If you're getting this video, hopefully know I'm pointing at the calendar on October 4th, Tuesday. We are online this week. So I'm recording our lecture. If you've had me for 380 or 500, you will know I try to do these for better or for worse in one take. This is actually the second take because the video actually froze on me and my face was like, it was bizarre looking and it distracted me. I'm pushing through this one no matter what. So enough about me. Let's go ahead and jump in. And in case you need to hear my voice, you can watch this multiple times this week. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to move this thing over so it's out of the way. And I need to re-pull up our class, which I had up a second ago. And like I said, I was talking and it just like froze. It was bizarre. The internet's been a little spotty here today. Hope everyone, by the way, is surviving exams while I'm typing this in. And here we go. All right. It just seems a little off, and I think that's what happened with the last filming, but I'm going to go ahead and hit 422. Go there. A few things. One, I'm going to go ahead and go this week. What do you have to do this week while we're off? Well, one, it was pointed out last week, and I do want to make sure that I hit all this. The discussion boards, sorry, I'll have this open a little early. You have all week to do it. And I do know sometimes I have the way the syllabus is set up, like, I don't mean that they're due. It's when I'm kind of telling you to have it done. Or I'm sorry, it's not when it's due. It's really that data's on there is when you need to start it or start to get that completed. But I can see the correlation and why that creates any confusion. So I apologize for that. But just be sure to catch up on your discussion boards. The 3 that you should have done by the time we meet on the 11th will be the one on 1619, which it looks like everyone's got. Tough topics, everyone looks like they have. And this week, you're going to do one on anchor charts. So I have a feeling most people have seen an anchor chart or know what an anchor chart is, but just in case, I'm going to show you some examples. So when you click here, there are 3 examples of anchor charts. They're usually the things you see hanging in there, and they can be a lot of things. I used GRAPES a lot when remember we talked about the acronym GRAPES for like ancient civilizations, GRAPES. I would have my students get a big sheet of paper. I think I have one here. And I would have them complete them, and then we would hang them up and we would talk about them and they would display them. And I'm sorry, discuss them. So there's one. You have these links on the discussion board, so you're welcome to check them out, but I'm going to pull them up real quick. Here's ones with various ones. This has a lot of compare and contrast, and like as you see, vocab, people, places. Kind of went backwards there, but that's okay. People, places, vocab. Cause and effect. You can do timelines. I've never did the stick one. These are other ones, but some people get creative and might have people put things through lenses and things like that. It's just kind of neat. Here's some other ones. These are a bunch, I think. Yeah, there you go. There's some cause and effects. You can have them like look things through. Questions to ask about historical events and such. Those are anchor charts. I think they're really fun to do. I used to like doing them in class because you can put students in groups, give them a piece of paper, Sharpie, and they can, sometimes I'd let them doodle like historical things on them and stuff like that. What do you have to do for this assignment or for the discussion board? There's the links related to some teaching strategies related to anchor charts. With this post, I want you to pay attention to world history topics. Since we did world history last week, I want you to kind of think of some world history topics that you could use an anchor chart for. You can check out the links. And what I want you to do is describe an anchor chart that you might do. So it might be one on comparing and contrast, and I'd have the students, do a Venn diagram, and these are some of the things that I'm looking for. Or if you want to be really creative, you can model or create an anchor chart. If you want to do the big paper, that's fine. Even if you want to draw on a regular sheet of paper like this, that's fine, as long as I kind of have an idea of what you're envisioning. And I want you to take a picture and submit that online. So you have a choice. You can either, one, just provide a nice written description of what you would do for an anchor chart, or 2, you can kind of draw or create an anchor chart and post it up, take a picture. Your choice. Check out anchor charts. They're a fun activity to do in class. I think students enjoy them. So that's one thing you need to be thinking about this week when we're not meeting. The other thing that I want you to check out, I probably will confuse the heck out of you when I say this. There is a blog due this week. The blog, if you don't want to do it yet, I have no problems with that, and I'll tell you why. I want you to check out the giant map by National Geographic. National Geographic does all these awesome maps. They have one of each continent. I actually did get my school to purchase one time, but as you can see, actually they rented them. Now they don't even sell them, it looks like, but that's okay. I'm going to tell you why. They have one of all. They also have one of all the states. And I know everyone in this class has been back by our annex where my office is before. When you're walking out, there's a big bin with a yellow tub. Well, it's a bin with a big yellow lid on it. Within that is the giant map of West Virginia. It takes up, I've put it out in Canudi before. It takes up the entire room. It's not even big enough to cover. I'm sorry, it's big enough to cover the room. The room can't hold it. So I'd like to maybe get that out when we come back in a week or two and show you how big the giant map is. With that being said, if you don't want to do the blog because you want to see the real giant map first, that's fine. Now, if you want to go ahead and knock this out since we're not meeting and you're joining your discussion, you're like, you know what, I'm on a roll, I want to knock this blog out. You can go ahead and watch the video on the giant map if you want. There's tons of them on YouTube also, and kind of say whether you want to do it. Or I put one with another link up with a ton of social studies resources, and you're welcome to check those out. Just different tools and things like that. So discussion board on anchor charts you need to do. Check it out. Anchor charts, hang them on the wall, model them for students. You probably should always have a anchor chart created to model anyway on the assignment that you're going to do. So if you're going to do an anchor chart on the Bill of Rights and maybe like what each one does, and each student's going to take an amendment and break it down, maybe you'll do one on another amendment that's not the Bill of Rights just to show them what you're looking for. So you can make one or you can give it a description. Now, the final thing. Next, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about U.S. history and things like that. Also, I want to talk about, I keep talking about that assessment activity we ran out of time on. I'm going to try to get that in. If we don't, we will definitely do that before November, we will get that in. But this week, besides doing the blog, besides doing the discussion post, you also have to do an activity about teaching through a social studies lens. And what is a lens, you say? Well, you probably know this, but just in case, if you click that link that I just did, or better yet, if you click, there you go, the link that says social studies lenses, that was the assignment link. When you click on here, there are 5 lenses that most social studies teachers kind of use: a historical lens, a geographer, an economist, a political science, or an anthropologist. Now, I should clarify here a little bit. This whole concept of lenses is still kind of based in that inquiry arc. Remember when hopefully you remember way back at the beginning of the semester, we talked a little bit about the C3 method. That's the National Council of Social Studies inquiry arc thing. And it really stresses the idea of looking at documents and looking at materials through the eyes of a specific lens. They really focus on historian, economist, and a geographer. And you want to look at things like through those eyes. And when I mean look at, you want to think about the way they would do it, and you also want to ask the questions that maybe that person would ask. So for example, a historian, they think of things chronologically to understand historical events. They do research, but some questions they might say is, how might past events affect the present situation? Or has this type of thing or situation occurred before? Those are some questions they might ask. A geographer, if you're looking through something through the geographic lens, it's more earth-based, topography, things like that, environmental. We talked about the 5 themes of geography. Definitely, those are 5 things that you could frame questions around. As you can see, what are, characteristics? What's the location or the region? What's the latitude and longitude of a place? Those might be, and how does that affect its location to and from the equator? Does that affect the weather or the climate? An economist, they're going to look at things probably more from the economy's point of view, maybe financial, and there's just some sample questions. Of course, a political scientist is going to look at things more of civics based, maybe things through citizenship, political process. And of course, questions they might have are there advantages politically to something to and fro? What are the laws? What are the rules of something? And of course, an anthropologist is something I think, especially for prehistory. If I froze again, I mentioned that this video froze the last time. If it froze again, sorry, I just noticed that. I'm going to minimize that so I don't have to look at it. It's done that a couple of times, but I'm going to go ahead and roll. And sorry, you're just going to have to see me not talking with my hands. If you look at an anthropologist actually, studies the past of humans, this would be like your prehistory, but also, actually, I'm kind of doing that a little vague. It might also look at things like how cultures have changed over time. So that could be a little more modern. So those are some lenses you can look at. Also, there are other ways you can look at it. You can look at things through a religious lens. You can look at things through, a time period lens. But I kind of think you should stick to these 5. So for this assignment that I'm going to describe here in a minute, you need to pick one of these: a historian, a geographer, an economist, political science, or an anthropologist. And you say, okay, so what am I supposed to do, Dr. Allen? Well, don't worry, I have that covered. And here we go. If you go down here to Geographic Lens, I went to a conference put on by the National Council of Social Studies on the Library of Congress. And they did some activities on looking at things through lenses. And one that they did was the geographic lens. Now, this is a sample assignment. This is what I want you to do. This is just a repeat of the question. So I'm going to scroll down here. But I will say this. Well, actually, I said I was going to scroll. Stop it. Stop it right here. If you look here, I want you to pick 3 images, and you're going to organize them into questions where you observe, you reflect, and further questions that you have. You can use these questions if you want. So if you want to do a geographic one, you can kind of use these as a base. If you want to try something through another model, that's fine. If you want to use a political cartoon, you can. Here's some questions I came up with. But those are just kind of some overviews. Here's what you really need to do. All right. I want you to find some images. I would suggest using something like the Library of Congress, the National Archives, or some other, the British Museum is a good one. Some places like that, and try to find some images. I want you to cite the image and put it on here. This is exactly what I'm kind of looking for right here. You're going to take the image. You're going to put it right there and note it. And then you're going to ask some questions that you want the students to analyze the image with. So what do you want them to observe? So what words are on the image? So they're going to look at this, hopefully they're going to be able to look at this through a geographic lens. So, they're going to see this was something they put on related to segregation in the South. I'm sure you probably already figured that out. And if you look on the building, they have some things here. Describe the building, describe the landscapes and the features. What do the students observe? Then I want you to come up. And by the way, I know there's more than this on this one, but I just want 3 for each column. What can you infer? So you want them to reflect what's going on about this place. What can you infer about racism in this place? What is the most likely purpose for this image? So why was it taken? That's something. And then you can do 3 general questions. What do you wonder about this image? What would you ask the author of this image? Just further questions. So if you can do that, 3, 3, 3, 1 on observe, 1 on reflect, 1 on questions. So I want that there. I would like you to try this with 3 different related images. So like something you were doing in class. So this was a unit on segregation in the South. They use these questions. And as you can see, you can use the same questions for all 3 images. So once you establish your question base, you can put your images beside it. So as you see, here's one image. There's the questions. Here's another image, same questions. You put another image, same questions. I'm holding up my fingers like the video is working, but hold on. No, it's not still. So I'll just say this. You need 3 images and you need 3 questions for each one of these. I know that's a little more, but it was just an example. 3, 3, 3. 3 images. You do not need to do all of this. That's just a question pool that I had. And you are welcome to use some of these questions or reword them if you want. Bloom's taxonomy is a good one. Hopefully though, if you could just do me a favor when you submit it, please make sure you note somewhere what position you're using, what lens you're using. So is it a historical lens? Is it an economist lens? Is it an anthropologist lens? Is it a political science lens? If there's another type of lens you think of or check out and you've researched and you want to try, that's fine. Just fire me an email and I can give you the thumbs up, thumbs down. But by and large, that's it. So what do you need to do? You need to do the lens assignment. I'll show you where to submit it here in a second. 3 images, 3 questions in there observe. You want the students to observe 3 things. You want the students to reflect on 3 questions, and then you just want 3 general questions to put there, 3 images. If you have any questions about that in and of yourself, you're welcome to contact me. What are the other things you have to do? You need to do an anchor chart discussion, and it's up to you if you want to do the blog. All of these things are due on the 11th. That is October. They do not need to be done on the 4th. So when I'll send this video, I'm actually filming on the 30th of September. I'm going to try to get it out to you this weekend. You'll know that or not, I guess, when you get the email. But when you get it, you are welcome to start it. I'll open everything up a little early. So discussion, teaching through the lens, and please swing by if you, I should be here most of the week. I'm not going anywhere. You can come by and ask me any questions about the assignment. You can submit it right there. As you can see, boom. You can submit it on a Word document. That is totally fine. This is not something we're sharing in class unless you really, I might share them just because they look awesome. But other than that, you can check them out. The other thing is, I'll bring these in. I was going to talk about DBQs, but I can do that when we talk about US history very easily. But I think a lot of this leads itself to DBQs. And in case you're not familiar with DBQs, those are document-based questions. And I'll bring in some resources on that. But here you go. Have inquiry assignment complete by next class. I put the 12th, but I think that is actually supposed to be the 11th. And I'll fix that right now. And anchor charts, and you don't have to worry. There are no more quizzes in here. I did away with that since we don't have the textbook. So that is gone. And that's kind of it. So I'm sorry that the video went out. I had tried it 2 or 3 times and it froze. I don't know why it did it. Did it at the same spot almost every time. So with that being said, I'm going to stop the share. Whoops. Did I not share? Hold on. Stop share. Let's see. There it is. As you can see, I'm frozen still. And with all that being said, I hope everyone has a wonderful week. And if you have any questions, stop by and see me. And if I babbled too much or anything, just contact me and I will be sure to clarify. Talk to you later. I'm waving. Goodbye.